Our story begins with a conversation between two people. One person told the other that last night a meteor shower fell on people, but it seems that it did not fall on the offspring of the nobility. The other person replied that at first glance, many atrocities happen in peacetime, but punishment will overtake them. Two men were sitting near one house that was slightly damaged by a meteorite. Suddenly, a small piece broke off from a huge meteorite and rolled down the roof and fell directly on the young gentleman's head. But the man sitting next to him grabbed the stone. Then the man threw the stone aside and said that the young gentleman had already been sitting here for 6 hours straight. Well, to understand what happened, we need to go back 2 hours. The young man was fast asleep, but someone started to wake him up and he opened his eyes. As soon as he saw who was in front of him, he immediately attacked him in a very vulnerable place. The man who woke him up fell to the ground in pain, and the young gentleman, in a state of shock, asked who came to him and why he was at his house. A man with a black beard with pain in his voice turned to the young master and asked if he didn't recognize him. He was his closest bodyguard named Sunda Lee. The frightened guy ran out into the street to look around where he was. His bodyguard asked where he was running. When he went outside, he began to look around and did not understand where he was. People looked at the frightened young man and thought that this was the eldest son of the Lin family named Lin Xiu. They say a star fell from the sky on him last night. Other people thought that for some reason he was standing like an idol. He didn't even have shoes on. Did he really become stupid after the blow? Our hero noticed something incredible in the sky. There were people flying on magical things. He was simply dumbfounded and thought that it seemed like it was all a dream because people don't fly. After that, he lost consciousness, and his bodyguard ran up to him, who did not understand what was happening to the young master, and our hero thought that he was just sleeping. Now let's go back 2 hours forward. The bodyguard noticed that mushrooms were already growing on him. Therefore, he advised the young master to get up and leave here because it is cold on Earth. The young master was also already covered in mushrooms. He was thinking that since he had moved to this place, he needed to calm down. He tried to stay calm. The bodyguard extended his hand to him, and Lin Shu also extended his hand and touched his finger. As soon as he did this, some kind of activation immediately occurred. Lin Shu was scared again. Lin Shu grabbed his bodyguard's hand and told him not to move. The bodyguard said, why did he grab his hand so tightly? Lin Shu saw something that his bodyguard did not see. Now some kind of loading was taking place. Then a translucent sign appeared above his head, and it said that he was gaining incomparable abilities. And finally, the bodyguard couldn't stand it and pulled his hand. Why did he start running away, screaming that he had never held a man's hand for so long? Now he's so dirty. Lin Xiu took a stone that was lying not far from him and crushed it in his hand. He felt that his powers had become at a completely different level. The bodyguard was watching this. He was delighted and thought that it seemed that this was Sundali's magic. When he took his hand, did his copying magic pass to him? But then, he thought that he needed to find someone else to check. The bodyguard said that in the incense tasting room there was a girl who understood the language of animals. It was worth going and checking. And so he went straight there. The beauty immediately met him and began to offer him various kinds of services and asked why he came. Lin Shu turned to one of the beauties and told her to take him to a girl who understands the language of animals, while he gave her a bag of money. Meanwhile, the guard told the young master that he couldn't go there. He was engaged. If the lady found out, he would be finished. He did not listen to his bodyguard. He headed towards his goal, and then someone turned to Hai Tan and told her that a guest had come to her. She immediately greeted the gentleman. She said that she heard that he was specifically looking for her. But why? Lin Shu turned to her and said, can she say what this bird sitting in this cage is saying? The bird began to chirp loudly, and the girl replied that this bird appreciated the beauty of the young master. Lin Shu thought that she seemed to be telling the truth. She really understood animals. Then you need to check. The girl asked why the gentleman came to see her, but suddenly he grabbed her hand. He decided not to stand on ceremony and get down to business right away. The girl was a little scared. Lin Shu noticed this loading window again. Now he realized that it was not an accident, and he could actually copy other people's abilities. This is great. Well, it takes some time for the download to be successful. Suddenly, someone opened the door very hard, with such force that the young master began to fall. The girl whose hand he was holding was the first to fall, and at that moment the download was interrupted. Lin Shu shouted that it is not so easy to finish this. Who ruined everything for him? A very beautiful lady entered the room and turned to Lin Shu and told him to follow her. Lin Shu with displeasure asked who she thinks he is. He doesn't have to listen to him. Well, the beauty got angry and sharply swung her beautiful long leg, shouting, why is he showing off? She struck him at an important strategic place, and then our hero screamed, where did his bodyguard go? He was being robbed in broad daylight. The beauty who attacked him gave him another blow to the head from behind. For him, it was an unexpected attack from behind, and he immediately lost consciousness. This lady with black hair possessed powerful magic. She said that if he had not been her, then she would not have felt sorry for her. After some time, our hero began to wake up. But it was late evening. The bodyguard woke up the young master and told him to wake up. Out of fear, Lin Shu again tried to reflexively hit the man in front of them, but this time the guard was ready. In addition, our hero felt very strong pain in the back of his body when he tried to strike. He didn't understand why his butt hurt so much. He asked Sundali how he got here. The bodyguard replied that it was his second sister who brought him here, and it was also she's fault that his butt hurt. Lin Shu shouted to his bodyguard saying that he was not doing his job well. Did he really just stand and watch as the fierce woman beat him? Sun replied that he could not defeat her. The second sister is a heavenly-level ice mage, and besides, Lin Shu has marriage contract with her sister. I didn't understand what kind of marriage contract this was, who she even was. The bodyguard was surprised. Did the gentleman really not remember anything? She is the second sister of the Zhao family, named Zhao Linyan, and he and sister Zhao have been engaged since childhood. Maybe yesterday's meteorite influenced the gentleman's mind. Lin Shu was shocked by this news. He thought that he was actually a great womanizer, and he was confronted with the fact that he had to get married. He slapped himself in the face and thought that he needed to break off this engagement. He would not allow it to ruin his exciting life in the future. But when he slapped himself in the face, he noticed that a magical glow appeared around his hand. He turned to the bodyguard and said that he had just told him that Zhao brought him here. The guard said that everything was correct. Lin Shu thought that at first he only wanted to copy the language of animals, but by chance he also copied ice magic. What luck! Now he understands that if there is physical contact, then you can even copy magic, and that's great. Lin Shu turned to the man who was sitting in front of him and asked, what if he wanted to study magic, but where should he go? The bodyguard asked that perhaps he meant a magic college, but the gentleman had not yet awakened his ability to magic, and besides, he was no longer at the age to go to a magic college. The young man thought that it seems he must find a way to enter this college. This way, he can copy different types of magic. This world is ruled by power. Extra skill will not hurt. He needs to go to the pavilion again to taste the incense. Then he will properly finish the younger one, his fiancée's sister. After some time, Lin Shu again came to that same pavilion to taste the incense and was already holding that same beauty by the hand. She told the young master that as a child, she lived in Nanjing, but her parents sold her. Since then, she passed from hand to hand until didn't get here. Lin Shu said that her past remains in the past. She needs to move forward. And the girl replied that her body is like a plucked flower that was thrown to the ground and trampled. What kind of future can we talk about? Meanwhile, the guy had already copied her ability and told his interlocutor that this world is cruel. How could such a fragile girl withstand all this? A person's purity comes from his heart. That's the most important thing. The sweet girl wanted to say something else, but Lin Shu quickly pulled his hand away from her and said that, that's enough for today. The girl even fell, but she quickly got up and said that the young master was right. She would work hard and someday open her own small store. The girl thought that he was different from those men who usually come to him. But before leaving, our hero heard the chirping of a bird. He understood what this bird was saying. The bird was saying that the gentleman was leaving, and he needed to smile one last time. Lin Shu looked at the bird and smiled. The bird was scared. Lin Shu said that in the future she will become the owner of her own business, and he will visit her sometimes. When he left the pavilion, he told her that she should be hardworking. He took away her magic, so in the future he will need to look after her. Suddenly, he felt that some kind of sinister magic was coming from somewhere. He even felt a little cold. When he had seen enough, he noticed where this magic came from. The same beauty with long legs who had beaten him the previous day was heading straight towards him. She pressed him against the wall and asked how he dared to visit brothels. Our hero answered her that he was trying to do business. His interlocutor asked what he was saying. If he did this again, she would tell him to break off his engagement to her sister. Lin Shu looked at his interlocutor in surprise and asked, is this really true? The girl felt that he had strong chi energy, and then asked, is he really studying martial arts? Lin Shu said that the sooner the better. Why not break the engagement today? But his interlocutor did not appreciate such a conversation. How did he even dare to talk about divorce? Is his sister not good enough for him? And so she wanted to strike him again with that same blow to the head, but suddenly he grabbed her hand. And at that moment when he grabbed her hand began to freeze. She looked at him in surprise and asked, did he awaken magic? He wanted to say something, but suddenly noticed some kind of sinister smile from his interlocutor. and she grabbed him by the shoulders and said that now he needs to train hard and not go to brothels. If she catches him again, she will break his legs. He was scared that she was saying such terrible things with a smile. Then the beauty turned around and left. Lin Shu thought that he had mastered magic. But why was she so happy? When he returned home, the bodyguard met him and said that his parents had returned. He noticed these two people and thought that these seemed to be the parents of the owner of this body. He asked with bewilderment and a smile who they were. Now he was going to pretend that he had amnesia. The mother and father were shocked by what he just said. Does their child have a problem with his head? The bodyguard asked the master and madam for forgiveness. It was his fault because he did not protect the young master well. The bodyguard said that this began to happen after that meteorite arrived, and besides, the young master studied ice magic. The father told his son that the main thing is that he is alive and well. The mother said that the main thing is that everything is fine with him. His mother gave him soup so that he could strengthen himself because he had become very thin. The father said that he can live a normal life and work for him. They will ask him not to stand out and most importantly be safe. Lin Shu was pleasantly surprised. He finally felt what a family is. He didn't have this in his previous life. He happily began to drink the soup. Tears appeared in his eyes. When he drank the soup, he said that it was very tasty. But he himself thought that unfortunately they were the parents of another Lin Shu, but not his. The father turned to his son and said that he needed to think carefully about his engagement. The mother said that she said something bad, and now the Lin family and the Zhao family are not on the best terms. She wanted to say something about the engagement, but our hero interrupted her and said that he thinks so too. He said that they would not achieve such success as the Zhao family. So there is no need to wait. It is better to cancel the engagement early. He didn't want his fiancé's sister to beat him again, but his parents were very surprised when they found out. They said that it's great that he thinks so too. Then the father can quickly find him a good girl to marry. And the mother said that we need to hurry. She already wants to babysit her grandchildren. Lin Shu, I want to run away screaming that he doesn't want to. He's still too young. His mother said that when she was 18 years old, he was already in her stomach. After some time, Lin Shu thought about what was happening in this world and how he got into this body. He wanted to study this world and improve his magic. Lin Shu noticed that Sister Yue was carrying a bucket of water, and he decided to help her. She thanked him, and the guy himself thought that it seemed that he had increased strength after awakening his magic. And again the same lady came whom he did not want to see. She came here to Lin Shu. Our hero hid behind that lady just helping. He was thinking about why this fierce woman is here again. She won't beat him this time? Well, the beauty with black hair turned to him and told him to follow her. After some time, they already came to the magic college. The girl who came here with our hero turned to the director and said that he had made her a promise. The director replied that if this young man had awakened his abilities for magic earlier, it would have been normal. But now it's a little late. Why did the director agree? I said that he would do as they agreed. Just don't let them make him regret it. Later, he turned to Lin Shu and said that from now on he is a student at a magic college and now he must try hard for all the people around him. The director turned to the girl and said that he relied on her. She bowed before them and said that she would take care of him. Our hero stood with those things in his hands that I gave him from the director and thought that his fiancé's sister was able to help him into the magic college. It was a good surprise. People on the streets were whispering among themselves that this useless son of the Lin family was able to awaken magic. And Lady Linyan treats him well. Maybe this is the work of the Zhao family? Lin Shu fantasized that the lady would give him the money and tell him to leave her sister alone. Previously, he always wanted to do nothing and sit on his wife's neck. Has it really come true for him? Now he can break off the engagement and study in magic college? What a good bride he has. The girl who stood next to him asked him for forgiveness for what happened, and she was wrong. Lin Shu said that it's okay, and he understands everything. Her sister is a great girl, but he still wanted to say something but was interrupted. His interlocutor said that the Zhao family always keeps their promises, so the engagement will take place under any circumstances. Lin Shu was surprised by what she just said. She said that this is not possible. His interlocutor said that although his powers awakened late, nothing is clear yet. He may turn out to be a dark horse. Lin Shu looked at her in surprise and did not understand. Was she trying to calm him down? The girl hit the wall with her hand and said that her sister had awakened magic 5 times already. If he wants to be equal to her, he will have to train hard. If he is lazy, then she will beat him to death. The next event takes place 2 days later in the Lin Palace. With each awakening, not only does his strength increase, but new skills are also revealed. The key to awakening is storing enough energy. Lin Shu said that the book says that the fastest way to train in using magic is to harden the body in a certain environment. On this hot day he practiced, and after 2 days his performance improved slightly. He touched the teapot and the teapot cracked. He didn't even make any effort. Then he took the table and raised it above his head. Now he realized that he had really become stronger, even though he had practiced magic. Yes, but his strength had also improved well. He thought it was great. He was training to use magic and at the same time strengthening other skills. And again, the same beauty came that he was not expecting. She said that it turns out he had been at home all this time. Now a strange order came from her. She told him to undress. Lin Shu said that it is indecent, he is still a virgin, but she is his fiancée's sister. So why not try it? The girl didn't think twice. She simply used her magic to undress our hero. And then she told him that he makes very bad jokes and it's better not to do that. And then, sometime later, after the loud groans of our hero, the door opened. The girl said that everything was fine and she would be back tomorrow. The bodyguard sat hidden behind a column. He told her that they would see each other again. But he himself held his back and thought that he was weak from these trainings. And so the beauty began to leave. She was in a good mood. The bodyguard asked with a smile, "Does the master really like both sisters?" Lin Shu hit his bodyguard on the head and said that this is just crazy. She came to train him. The guard said that she is very kind to the young master. Lin Shu said that, "Does the bodyguard think that everyone is the same person as him?" When he is in danger, he runs away the fastest. The bodyguard scratched the back of his head and said that he asked for forgiveness, but he cannot defeat the second sister. Lin Shu turned to him and said that tomorrow he would go with him to the officials' department. A man with a black beard asked what the gentleman would do there. Lin Shu replied that formally he is registered at work and receives a salary, so he needs to go there. The next day, they went to the Qing officials' department. It's not bad here. There is work, which means there will always be a bowl of rice on the table. After all, Uncle Pinan and his wife love their son very much and take care of him. Suddenly, he saw a crowd that for some reason was fussing, and someone shouted for someone to punish the guilty. As it turned out, there was a trial going on there. The judge turned to Qin Chong and said that yesterday, eyewitnesses saw Mrs. Wang entering his house, and today she hanged herself. How will he explain this? The man in purple clothes said that yesterday she took money from him and voluntarily went with him, and today she hanged herself at home. What does he have to do with this professional? The man who was kneeling next to him said that she had always been a decent girl. She couldn't do that. Do. And he asks to restore justice. Lin Shu listened to the conversation about the crowd. They were talking about how it looked like the eldest of the Qin brothers, a martial artist, and how could just people sue such a noble? The judge said that it could not be proven that the murder of Mrs. Wang was connected with Qin Kong, and he was about to say something, but he was interrupted. "Hello everyone, our hero is going to the field." Lin Shu turned to everyone and said that Ms. Wang did not hang herself. If that were the case, then her legs would not have been so badly damaged. But her legs were so ossified that it was likely that she had died before she was hanged. Lin Shu took out his fan and carefully lifted the blanket that was covering the body of that deceased lady who was in the courtroom. He said that besides, the tips of the tongue of hanged people will be blue. Then people began to understand that everything was completely different, which means the girl was killed. The judge ordered everyone to be silent and banged loudly on the table to calm everyone down. He said that this case requires a special approach. It is necessary to take Qin Kong into custody. The meeting is over, but the guy who was accused said that in any case, justice will prevail. Then the father of this girl who died thanked the gentleman for standing up for his daughter. Lin Shu thought that he would like to do much more in this situation. Several hours have passed since then. The accused guy came to our hero telling him that he knows too much. Lin Shu asked, "Was he really released in less than 24 hours? The guy in purple clothes said that because of him he was kept in prison for 2 hours, and he also had 2 broken ribs. This is too much. Lin Shu was thinking about what he should do now. He can't fight with him in the magic college, otherwise he will be expelled. And his interlocutor said that the magic college really has rules, but all this is not important, and he attacked our hero. As soon as he tried to do something, he immediately stopped as his feet froze to the ground. As it turned out, it was Zhao Linyan and she froze him to the ground. The guy who was immobilized said that fighting in college is prohibited and she should let him go. The beauty asked, "Is it true? But they are outside the college." Then, without thinking twice, she dealt him a crushing blow directly to the chest with her graceful foot. This blow was so strong that he simply flew back several meters. Lin Shu looked in surprise at what happened. The girl turned to her opponent and said that she was warning him for the first and last time that he would not be so lucky again. if he wanted to start a fight again. The angry and humiliated guy said that Lin Shu will still get what he deserves. They will meet again. Lin Shu asked Lin Yan what abilities he had. She replied that he had first-level stone magic. Lin Shu must awaken the magic again, and he could easily deal with him. Lin Shu understood that he had to become stronger and as quickly as possible in this world. Strength rules everything. Lin Shu said that he really liked his fiancée, the bodyguard asked. Did he really decide to sit on her neck? The following events take place late in the evening. The bodyguard asked the young master why he was so late in the magic college. Lin Shu replied that he is interested in reading and does not notice how time passes. His knowledge in the field of magic is still too little, so he must make up for everything he missed before the start of training. There is a dog right in front of our hero, but Lin Shu understood what he was talking about. In animal language, the dog said that this man had been hiding in the alley for a long time. What was he planning? Suddenly, Lin Shu felt some noise and noticed that a shuriken was flying straight at him. The bodyguard managed to react and put his back to cover the young master. Immediately after this, when the shuriken stuck into the back of the bodyguard, a ninja appeared behind him. The ninja tried to strike the bodyguard to kill him with his sword, but the bodyguard managed to dodge. Lin Shu shouted that he needed to quickly run away from here. He felt the chi energy. The bodyguard shouted for the gentleman to leave and he will cover him. The bodyguard began to change, as if he began to absorb more and more magic into himself and become stronger. After that, he jumped and gathered his strength into a fist and attacked his opponent. This blow was so powerful that in one blow, he knocked him to the ground and cut his sword into pieces. Lin Shu was surprised when he saw what was happening. He asked the bodyguard who still had the shuriken stuck in him if he was okay. The bearded man laughed loudly and said that of course everything was fine. But then he just fell face down on the ground, his wound bleeding. After some time, Lin Shu brought his bodyguard home, and he asked why the doctors from Tai Hospital had not come yet. His interlocutor replied that Shu should remember. Did he recently quarrel with someone? Lin Shu thought that it must be Qin Kong. The maid turned to the master and said that Mrs. Bai from Tai Hospital was already here. Lin Shu told her to go faster. She immediately told them to bring broth to the victim. She was a sweet lady with green eyes and white clothes, and she also smelled pleasantly of flowers. She walked up to the victim and put her hand to his forehead. Lin Shu asked her if there was any way to help him. The girl smiled and said that he should not worry. She extended her hand to the subject and began to apply her healing magic. The man felt better. His fever went away and his face became calmer. Then she left him and said that, let him rest for a few days and everything will be fine. Lin Shu escorted Mrs. Bai and followed her with 2 horse-drawn carts. He thought that the healing spell was easy to use. He needed to figure out where to get a copy of it. Suddenly, he noticed that same Lin Yan next to him. He began to tell her that yesterday they tried to kill him. Song Dali was wounded, Madame Bai works as a doctor, and they invited her to help Dali. He just saw her off out of politeness, nothing like that. Lin Yan replied that she knew this. She just came to visit Lin Shu. He asked what she thought. Perhaps it was Kong's doing, but the young lady said that killing a powerful person is a criminal offense. A small enmity between them is not worth the life of the entire Qin family. Lin Shu said that if it is not the Qin family, maybe it was Liu Shi who insulted someone before he became one. The following events take place already in a slightly different place, at the same time in the Qin Kong Palace. Holding a candle in his hand and walking and thinking about what happened today, he was angry with Lin Shu. Suddenly, he noticed a silhouette but didn't understand who it was and asked who it was. When he looked closely, he only noticed the sparkling silhouette of a shuriken flying at him. And then there seemed to be a murder. Blood splattered on the walls. Quiz without prizes, is this the new girl in the harem? Write yes or no in the comments. The next day, Lin Shu stood in front of Qing Song's dead body and thought that he quickly moved from words to action. Well, they met again. He also hoped that it was not the bride's sister who ordered the murder of this guy. You are a suspect. I thought that this guy couldn't have ordered the murder. The doctor said that he died last night. There was only one wound on his body. A sword was presented to his throat. And the judge came up and said that their guesses were inappropriate here. This was the work of that woman. Lin Shu asked which woman we were talking about. The doctor said that it was a female killer who awakened the magic of secrecy. She comes and goes without a trace. Each time she leaves several petals on the corpse. Our hero thought, what does it mean she secretly kills people just like Ake? He was already thinking about how he wanted to copy this ability for himself. The judge said that it seems that Madame Wang's dialogue attracted her attention, so she snuck into the Qin Palace. The young master wanted to say that this was noble, but then he interrupted himself and said, why did the criminal attack Qin Chong? The judge replied that yesterday a thief came to the police and admitted that it was he who killed Ms. Wang during the robbery of her house. He said that at first he just wanted to take out everything valuable, but then he succumbed to an impulse and killed the girl. This killer is punishing the nobles who escaped criminal responsibility for their crimes. Lin Shu said that it is a pity that Madame Wang is still dead. Her family will still have to face injustice. Since this matter involves the use of magic, so they will transfer it to the Department of Magic. When they left there, they were met by people who immediately recognized the guy who stood up for Old Man Wang. An old man with a mustache approached our hero and brought him sweet potatoes because he stood up for his daughter. He grew these sweet potatoes himself. Behind the old man, another strong man came up and brought fresh buns. He brought too many of them. Lin Shu replied that he could not take it all. But the man said that he and the old man Wang had been living next to each other for more than 10 years. He raised a daughter, but she was killed. And the old man himself was slandered, and LD Mister. The only one who stood up for the poor girl and Letty will please take these buns. The old man said that he really wants the young master to accept the gift. It's rare to meet such a good noble man like him. Lin Shu thanked those people for the gifts and told them to now return home. Also, our hero said that he himself would not eat all these buns. So he ordered the servants to distribute these buns to all the people they met, and let them not forget to return the basket to the baker. The servants immediately understood everything. Lin Shu also gave one bun to his companion, but she said that she was not hungry. The beauty said that Lin Shu is truly a good person, and our hero was very surprised by these words. He said that before he gave out cards of good people to other people. Well, now they gave him one, the girl asked. What does the card of a good person mean? After some time, our hero approached a small puppy who was lying on the floor and thinking about the fact that he had not eaten anything for 3 days, and he wanted to try the fried crust. He smelled the wonderful smell of chicken and immediately jumped up. Lin Shu immediately stuck a chicken leg directly into this dog's mouth and told him to eat. The dog was very happy, and right now his dream came true instantly. Lin Shu patted the dog on the head and said that he is a good boy and a smart dog, and let him follow him, and he promises that he will not go hungry anymore. He looked so hungry that he couldn't pass by, so let him now run after him. And his new name is Bulat. The girl asked if he really wanted to raise him to be a fighting dog. The guy replied that there was no need to look at him arrogantly. This dog saved his life. He himself thought that he should develop the ability to understand the language of animals in order to learn about what was happening around him. The following events take place where the judge was. He asked where the buns came from. The person he asked said that the people gave it to Mr. Lin for standing up for the family of the murdered girl. The judge looked at the bun in surprise and thought about something. He then told his assistant to go to the prison and bring here the prisoner who killed Ms. Wang. The man who stood next to the judge asked why bother because Sun was dead, but the judge said that the person who voluntarily surrendered should be sentenced to death, and then handed over to Chunyun. That's all. Although Qin Kong has died, Madame Wang's innocence cannot be restored. After some time, our hero sat and cultivated. He wanted to reach a new level of strength. He felt his entire body and that very core inside himself that filled him with strength. He arrived slowly and concentratedly. He immersed himself in himself and his thoughts. A beauty sat right in front of him who helped him gain strength. She watched over everyone and said that they would stop now at this stage. There was no need to rush into training. He had already done a good job. Lin Shu immediately fell on his bed after these words and said that practicing magic was too tiring. His assistant said that he was hungry and would soon lose consciousness. He should rest properly and she would return in a few days. And so Beauty began to leave in a good mood and hummed some kind of melody. At the same moment, his mother came to Lin Shu and asked if he was sleeping. The guy got out of bed and said that he was not sleeping yet. He asked what was the matter. His mother came up to him and said that Dolly told her that practicing magic requires a lot of energy. So she prepared dinner for him if he was hungry. The guy said that he shouldn't bother so much. But his mother said that she was his mother after all. It wasn't difficult for her at all. She told him to taste it. Lin Shu looked at the food and began to drool. These dishes looked very appetizing. And so he began to eat what his mother brought him. It was incredibly delicious food after all. It was prepared with love. Eating those dishes, he felt very good. Not only because he was very hungry, but because his mother brought him this food. He immediately attacked the rest of the food and began to quickly eat everything. His mother said that she was glad that he liked it. Lin Shu thanked her while eating. She said that there is no need for gratitude. Then if he gets hungry, then let him tell her what he wants and she will do it will cook for him. Our hero thought that before he only ordered delivery, ate some pasta, and asked the girl to feed him in a restaurant. But for the first time in 2 lives, he eats cooked food. She joked how good it is to have a mother. He smiled and called her mom. His mother also smiled at him and said that she loved him very much. The following events take place in the guest room of Lin's house. Meanwhile, Bodyguard was there training with his dumbbells. Dolly asked why the young master came here. Lin Zhu asked why he was training again. He had only recently been released from the hospital. He should rest as much as possible. The bearded man said that everything was fine with him. When he was lying down, he felt that mushrooms had already begun to grow on him, so he needed to train. The guy said that he should have listened to the doctor. If his parents had not invited her, his life would have ended earlier term. Dolly said that his main task is to protect the master. If everything is in order with the master, then it doesn't matter whether he dies or not. Lin Shu said that every time his fiance's sister beats him, the bodyguard immediately runs away. The man answered him that this is different. He is able to resist the second sister. And then suddenly they heard some noise in the yard. Someone was talking to the lady and gentleman to let them stay. Lin Shu immediately went out into the yard and asked his mom and dad what was going on. His mother said that last night he and his father did some calculations. Their family didn't have much money left. They couldn't afford to support so many people, so they decided to give them some money and let them figure out their own lives. She gave him a pay sheet in which information was written about the guards, servants, cook, maid, and worker. It also stated how much everyone received a salary, and their meals per day. For some reason, Dolly had the most meals, and they didn't pay wages. Lin Shu took this calculation sheet and said that he and dad approached this matter very responsibly. Two elderly servants said that if the master and mistress did not mind, they would like to stay and cook for them. The elderly man said that he had never felt so good anywhere as here, and he also wanted to stay. Like the old servant, he would be with them until the grave. Dolly said that the young master need not worry, he will never leave. Lin Shu thought about whether this is how it should be at home. Perhaps the meteorite was not a punishment, but a heavenly gift so that he could do good deeds. It was a beautiful sunny day, but the guy was thinking that it was hard to live without money. He had to solve the financial problem of his family. He walked the streets and thought about where he could get money. People who looked at the guy with the guard thought that these two crazy people were walking under the scorching sun. One of them said that it was incredibly hot now. It was better to go to the pavilion to taste the incense. There should be better. Someone said that there was no ice left in the capital. It was worse inside than in hell. When our hero heard that the ice had run out, he had an idea. All the premises were also incredibly hot. In one establishment, a salesman was sitting and thinking that the damned weather was really exhausting him. But when he saw the young master, he asked if he wanted to eat. Our hero replied that he did not come here for food. He needed the owner and he wanted to talk to him about one matter. Lin Shu waved his hand and froze the warm tea that was standing near the cellar. And so our hero explained the whole situation, and the owner of that establishment said that the magical ability of ice is excellent. Lin Shu said that he wants to rent a well for 10 silver per day. His interlocutor replied that apparently His Excellency also knows that the weather this year is unusually hot. Ice is in short supply throughout the entire kingdom, so the well is priceless. With His Excellency's abilities, it is not difficult to earn a lot of money every day, and 10 silver is too little. The guy asked how much he considered appropriate then, and the man replied that at least 50 silver. Lin Shu said that it was sold, and his interlocutor deserves to be called Jia Yue if he sells so wastefully. The owner of the well said that the young master doesn't need to laugh. They will make him a well Jia Yuelu. Does he really want them to pay him extra for this? Lin Shu said that since the shopkeeper is not sincere, then it is better to forget about it, and he thinks that Piao Xiang's establishment may be more sincere. Then the man became agitated and told the young gentleman to stop. The bearded man then replied that he would agree to 10 silver on the condition that His Excellency could supply ice to Jia Yue, and he would give him 10 silver every day. Lin Shu said that the shopkeeper also knows that the weather this year is unusually hot. Throughout the kingdom, ice is in short supply. It can be said that it is priceless, and with his ability, it is not difficult to earn a lot of money every day, and he is afraid that 10 silver will be too little. There's at least 50 silver here. And finally, the fat man agreed with them and said that he agreed to that price. But he also added that His Excellency would agree to his terms, except for him, Jia Yue. The master cannot supply ice to other places, provided that it remains with Zhang Yue. Even if it costs 50 silver per day, you can still get a large amount profit. Lin Shu said that in this case, he is afraid that it will be about a different price. Then his interlocutor replied that in addition to the daily 50 silver for one bucket of ice, the market price will also be paid. 5 times the reward will be given to the young master. Lin Shu finally smiled and said that he agreed to this pleasant cooperation. And so that man immediately gave the young master the silver and said goodbye to him, and also said that he would be back tomorrow. The guard brought in that heavy silver and thought that he had 300 silver in his hands. If only it were like this every day. Lin Shu said that when the weather gets cooler, there will be less money every day. His fiancée's sister, who helped him cultivate, was walking towards him. Lin Shu saw her and said that wherever he went, he ran into her everywhere. Is she really pursuing him? She came closer to him and asked if he doesn't have enough money. Lin Shu hugged the silver chest and said, "Isn't it obvious?" Suddenly the beauty said that as much silver as he needed, she would give him. Lin Shu got scared and thought that she would beat him. And then he saw that she handed him a small bag of silver. He asked in surprise, "Will she really give him silver?" The girl replied that even if he was already the only one with money, he still had to think about his status. Otherwise, he would make others despise the Lin family. Lin Shu snatched the bag of silver from the girl's hand and said that there is nothing wrong with making money on your own. And he didn't care what others thought about him. He immediately turned around and began to leave. He thought that since the Zhao family despises his provincial manners, it is better to break off the engagement. On the way, our hero met a woman who was crying bitterly on the street and begging good people to help her. Her child was sick. If he was not cured, he would not survive. The woman was holding a small child in her arms, and Lin Shu approached her and gave her silver and asked if this was enough for her. The woman immediately got up from her knees and said that this was quite enough, and thanked the young master. The girl who followed this said that throughout the kingdom in 89 cases such people are scammers. Does he really think that this one is worth it? The guy replied that what should he be afraid of? It's just one silver ingot. It's not even enough to eat and shop once, but maybe it will save a life. No matter how you look at it, it's worth it. Lin Shu turned to his bodyguard and said that they should go and get a couple of pieces of silk cloth for Wang Shendiao. It seemed to him that she had worn out her clothes to holes. Strength? And the beauty asked who Wang Shen was. The guy replied that this was their cook, she asked in surprise. Is he also the palace servant who buys things? Lin Shu answered her that these people were going to stay in the Lin family. You are in the most difficult times, and for him they are all family. After some time they came to the shop to eat noodles. Lin Shu asked the girl if she really wouldn't eat. They really cook well here, but she said that she wouldn't eat. Then she said that Lin Shu is greedy for wealth and lust, but at the same time he is a hardworking and thrifty person, kind-hearted and not afraid of power. In fact, he can be considered a good person. Lin Shu, while eating noodles, asked her when she chose the image of a good person. But he himself thought that he would never have thought that his fiancée's sister, who looked so fierce, could seriously praise him. The girl said that no matter what this means, she will definitely persuade her father to wait until her older sister returns to the kingdom and arranges a marriage for them. The following events take place in our hero's palace. The bodyguard knocked on the owner's door. Lin Shu was just training with his assistant. He went out into the yard and asked what happened. The bearded man replied that people from the palace were heading towards them. And then the guy saw that important people had come to them, who told Lin Shu to come to the palace as soon as possible. The girl who helped our hero cultivate turned to his uncle and aunt and said that she asked them not to worry about Lin Shu. He would not have problems in the palace. And already including the deadlines, they naturally went to the palace. The man who accompanied them at the head told our hero that Mr. Lin Shu would have to spend some time in the harem. He would be responsible for making ice. The most important thing is not to read what you shouldn't read, don't ask what you shouldn't ask, and this must be remembered. Lin Shu thought that his daughter-in-law Ming Ming is a very capable woman. It is obvious that she chose him as her strong man. The daughter of a first-class marquis is a noble woman. It is a pity that his affairs are not going so well. Suddenly, the man who brought him to this end looked at the guy and said, "Why is he complaining? Doesn't he want to do something useful for the palace?" Our hero turned to his father-in-law and said that he misunderstood him. He simply has too little strength to make so much ice. Then the father-in-law replied that His Majesty had plenty of his own business to do, so there was no need to worry about it. After some time, they arrived at their destination. The man bowed before one beautiful lady and said that the servant had met an imperial concubine. A beautiful woman in a beautiful outfit with a cat in her arms asked who he was. The servant said that the weather was very hot, and His Majesty specially called the students of Shenmi Academy to prepare ice for the Empress. The woman said that judging by his current appearance, he had just arrived from Yuni's palace. The cat who was lying under the beauty's breast said that she was very tired. Lin Shu almost forgot that he had the ability to understand the language of animals. The beautiful lady said that the Empress is simply incredible, and the sun is really hot now, and she got the first ice and probably even more than she did. and she is afraid that her share of ice is twice as large as the one that is designed for the palace. Therefore, they must immediately deal with this, and if they scare the princesses, she will rip their heads off. The servant and our hero bowed down in front of this important woman and said that of course they would leave immediately after they made the ice. Lin Shu understood that this and the concubine's character was not sweet. It was necessary to end this quickly. Lin Shu immediately got to work. He created ice and also realized that it was not necessary to touch the water to make ice. He felt as if he had lost all his strength after walking around the palace. Suddenly, he had seen enough and noticed that some lady had approached him. She brought a reward from Her Highness for his hard work making ice in their palace. "It was a grape," Lin Shu said. "Is it really possible to eat it? It looks much better than in his native land." The guy began to eat the grapes and thought that they were even tastier than the grapes that they bought on the way to the palace. It was too tasty. In the meantime, he took a short break. Then the chief servant came up to him and said that, of course, this is not just grapes. This is the tribute of the Western region. It cannot be obtained so easily. Only Mrs. Shufei can use it as a reward. Lin Shu said that some of them find it difficult to carry out his instructions, so they can eat together. The services were delighted and said that then they would follow his instructions to get rich. Some more time came and Lin Shu and the chief manager were talking among themselves. The guy said that he was interested in which palace they would go to next, if there is something that he needs to know in advance. It's better for him to find out now. The chief manager said that Mr. Lin is too polite. They will go to Ruidong Palace where Empress Defei previously lived, several years ago. She died of illness. Now this palace is under the rule of Princess Mingi, so Mr. Lin must be careful not to offend the princess. And immediately after that, they went to the next palace. The chief steward turned to the princess and said that by order of His Majesty, he brought the person who was responsible for making ice for the Ruidong Palace. The princess was swinging on a swing and looked at those who came to her with a dissatisfied look. Lin Shu raised his eyes and looked into the princess's eyes, and the princess also looked directly into his eyes. And then for some reason she became angry and turned to her maid asking if she thought this man was very annoying. The maid asked her and her patronymic to stop grimacing because everything was fine. The arrogant princess told them to do everything as quickly as possible and get out of the palace. I didn't understand. Is Mercury retrograde today? Why do all women look down on him? Our hero asked the man with whom he came if you really awakened magical abilities for the princess. The man answered him that it was her nature. The magic of fire awakened in the princess. Lin Shu thought that, no wonder he should stay away from her. She is very strong. For some time now, when our hero was already finishing work, the chief manager turned to Lin Shu and said that their next place was the house of concubine Ju. But the guy was already very tired and he just wanted to rest. He approached the chief manager and asked if he could see what state he was in. Does he really have no conscience at all? The manager said that there is no need to worry, this Tom has prepared something good. Shu asked what they had prepared and the chief manager showed him a beautiful crystal. Ecological raw materials, raises energy, helps in awakening, suitable for everyone, strengthens the kidneys and stomach, recommended by millions. Other servants looked at it and thought, it was amazing. It was simply amazing. But Lin Shu asked how it could strengthen the kidneys and stomach. Why brag so much? The chief steward said that this was a gift for His Majesty. He also turned to our hero and said that he seemed to have just woken up. This crystal was worth several years of his work, so he should be glad that it was he who had the honor of enjoying it. Lin Shu looked at these crystals and thought, is this little trinket worth a whole year of his life? He thanked His Highness and said that he really appreciated this gift. And then late evening came. Our hero worked hard all day and finally he was able to return home. After a hard day, Master Lin Shu was finally released by the emperor. The chief manager said goodbye to the guy and said that he would be waiting for him in his palace. A few days later, the guy replied that he knew everything, but he himself thought that it was good that he took at least 15 crystals for this work. Otherwise, everything would have been in vain. And so he met that same Lin Yan again and she asked why he went. The guy now asked her why she was here. As it turns out, she brought him a reward from the lunar house. Lin Shu said that he could not take her money. She earned it herself. But the girl said in a rude tone that he urgently needed to take this money. Lin Shu decided that it is not good to refuse girls, so he will accept them anyway. It's no wonder that so many people are attracted by cute faces. It's good for him. Today, he will eat well. He also asked Lin Yan why she followed him. She replied that the person who tried to kill him had not been killed yet. The security had been weakened. She made an absolutely indifferent face. Our hero thought that she liked him. This evening, she were walking down the street, and suddenly they heard someone selling dumplings. Lin Shu turned to his companion and said that they could have dumplings for dinner. The girl said that she was not hungry, but Lin Shu turned to the seller and said that they needed 3 servings. The girl asked if he would eat all this. The guy replied that after a difficult day in the palace, he was so hungry that he could eat a cow. While our hero was eating food, the beauty who was standing next to him suddenly felt something unusual all over her body. She looked behind her in the direction from which it seemed to her that he was watching her. She felt something strange, as if someone was keeping an eye on her. Lin Shu ate and sighed heavily. The girl asked if he was full. Lin Shu said that he is always full of strength. He feels like he could kill 1,000 cows right now. Lin Yan said that they should go home. There is no need to go out so late. Well, as it turned out, the girl didn't appear. She was really being watched. There were 2 ninjas there. One of them said that last time their shadows made the child wary. This girl will not be able to always protect him. The next day, Lin Shu thought that after the start of classes at Yishu Academy, he would not have any time left to visit the Qingliang department. If someone continues to fish these 3 days, will he cause public wrath? And then an idea came to him, and he set about implementing it. Now let's see what happened 2 hours later. People sat and licked the cold ice, saying that Mr. Lin Shu has changed a lot lately. He works in the cleaning department all the time. He bought them breakfast and prepared ice so that they would not overheat in the heat. This is very touching. The man who watched all this said that he bestowed their attention, and they already consider him theirs. All these children are the same. While our hero and his assistant were moving a large block of ice, Shu Wenshu passed by them and was in a hurry somewhere. Lin Shu asked him where he was going, and the man said that Master Liu had a new business. Lin Shu said that when he is free, let the cold watermelon train come too. Today is a very hot day, and he will try to help him if necessary. While he was saying this, he let go of that large ice block and it fell on his assistant's foot. The following events take place in the estate of the Wang Wenwei family. Master Liu and Mr. Lin were greeted by some people who were excited about something. When they came closer, they noticed the body of a murdered man with a mustache and blood around it. Liu Qingfeng walked up to the bloody man and said that the brick at the scene of the incident was lying next to the body. The victim's ankles were damaged, and the size of the wound on the back of his head corresponded to the amount of blood in the flower bed. It's like an accident. It's better to discuss Yuan Wen's funeral. People asked, how can the master just leave it like that? Lin Shu approached the bird that was in the cage. He understood that the bird had to see everything. Lin Shu said that we need to wait. It seems this is not just an accident. Yuan Wen was killed. Liu Qing turned to Mr. Lin and said that they rely on the evidence. Yuan died as a result of an accident. Why does he doubt it and think that it is murder? Lin Shu said that he had no evidence. Then his interlocutor said that a person's life is at stake. What kind of childishness is this? Our hero told his interlocutor that if he doesn't believe him, he'd better ask him and point his finger at the man. And the man only heard that it was about him and began to quickly run away. Liu ordered his assistants to quickly capture the man. He too was knocked to the ground in a few moments and his arm was twisted so that he could not resist. The man, in a panic, began to shout that he was not to blame and he did not want to kill him. Liu asked Mr. Lin how did he understand that this man was a murderer. Lin Shu decided not to tell the whole truth and he simply said that he guessed right, but in fact he learned everything from that bird. The following events take place in the meeting hall of the Qing dynasty. The judge asked, "Did he just guess? Is this really the case?" Liu told him that everything was correct, but he still cannot understand how Mr. Lin found out who the real killer was, because there was not a single trace at the scene. He must have noticed some detail that no one paid attention to. The judge replied that if there is something that Liu missed, then it is very interesting. The next morning, our hero was in the Changzhen Palace and sneezed loudly. He couldn't sleep all night. He thought that someone must have been discussing him a lot. Suddenly, he heard it sound like they were quarreling. The woman was saying that even Madame Bai couldn't cure her daughter, so what's the problem? Then the mistress shouted that if she did this to her daughter, then it was unforgivable, and she needed to be led and punished with 30 strokes of the cane. Lin Shu came to her and asked for forgiveness, then said that he had some knowledge of medicine, and could she let him take a look at her beloved pet? She replied that even Bai Shuang could not find a solution. But she is the best of the best. What can he do? Lin Shu replied that there is a solution, and it is clear at a glance. Then the lady looked at our hero with a menacing gaze and said that he could not be cured. Lin Shu looked at the cat who was sick. She was constantly meowing. Lin Shu understood that the cat was saying that her leg hurt very much and it hurt to death. And now he understood everything. The girl who was holding the cat turned to Mr. Lin and asked if he had any ideas. The cat talked about helping her get it out of her leg. Lin Shu immediately understood what was going on, and he noticed a small sweetheart that was sticking out in the cat's paw. And as soon as he took this small thorn out of the cat's paw, she immediately began to behave completely differently. The lady called this cat her daughter. She asked if everything was fine with her already. The cat was very glad that finally it didn't hurt for her to walk. The lady was so happy that she told the servants to give her hairpin to Mr. Lin, and the rest too. Let them give it all to him. Here the guy did a great job again and went home. The chief manager said goodbye to our hero. A girl approached him and asked him to wait. He asked Mrs. Shuang what was the matter. She said that she wanted to ask how he knew that the cat's leg was injured. The guy replied that in fact there is no secret, you just need to be more careful. The girl was very surprised when he told her this. Is it really all about attentiveness? The guy replied that the spirit animal was curled up in front of the melon and looked weak, so he guessed that it might have injured its leg. She thought that it turned out to be so simple, how bad it was that she herself didn't guess. Lin Shu told her that animals can't speak, and the illnesses of the senses are different from people. He also once had a cat, so he was able to understand something, so don't underestimate yourself. The girl said that judging by the time of the young master, he seems to have studied medicine. Lin Shu replied that this is not so. He is self-taught. His knowledge is not as extensive as academic ones. The sweet lady said that she only relies on her skills, and Mr. Lin is very attentive. If he studied medicine, he would have done better than her. Lin Shu asked, is she really telling the truth? Does that mean Lady Shuang wants to teach him the art of healing? She replied that of course she could do it. Most of the time she was in the Imperial Hospital, and he could come to her at any time. Lin Shu thanked her for this and told her to take care of herself. And as always, in moments when he never expected it, this very beauty appears and asks, is he really messing around again? Lin Shu was even scared and then looked at her and said that she should give him the opportunity to explain. He knelt in front of her and lifted above him a box containing something valuable. This was the same reward from the lady whose cat was sick. Lin Yan asked, does he really want to give this to her? The guy replied that it was a gift from Her Highness and he couldn't accept it. These days, he only went to training and helped collect ice from the moon tower. Just let her accept it as a gift of gratitude. The beauty replied that it was too expensive and she could not accept it. Lin Shu told her that in that case, he would keep it for himself and then give it to someone else. Then she immediately snatched that box from his hands and said that she would take it for her sister. Lin Shu said that of course he would take her word that she was taking this for her sister. Lin Shu Yi was going about his business and saw a crowd of people in front of him. He stopped and thought that after absorbing so many crystals over the past few days, Yuan's power had increased greatly. Even making ice had become faster. Suddenly, two strong men approached him and told the guy that their boss wanted to talk to him. And in the shortest possible time our hero was already at his destination, he asked why doesn't his interlocutor just tell him what happened. The young man next to whom two pretty girls were sitting said that he invited Brother Lin here to supply ice for their home of heavenly fragrances, and he would pay him 2 more than in any other place. Lin Su thought that twice as much is if 1 bucket of ice costs 5 coins, then 12 from this person he will receive 12 coins per bucket. After these words, that gentleman choked on the tea he was drinking. Then he asked his guards, why don't they drive him away from here? And then he calmed down a little and said that he was joking and would give Mr. Lin 12 coins per bucket, but hasn't the market price changed? Lin Shu pointed at himself with his fingers and asked, does he really look like someone who can't read? Then that high-ranking young man said that he knows that his interlocutor is the son of Ping An's uncle, and he wants to remind him that this tower belongs to the estate of the Yunping Ho family, and the owner of this tower, Ya Yue, owns the prince's mansion, so he should understand how influential these people are. Lin Shu, after listening to this arrogant man, turned around and said that in that case they had nothing to talk about. Then the arrogant gentleman crushed the cup he was holding in his hand out of anger and said that he would force him to come back and beg for this work and would make it so that he would not receive even 3 coins. While he was saying this, there was another man behind him. That man told him to take care of it. He hopes that he won't act like that brat Ching Kong. While our hero and his bodyguard were going about their business, something happened that they did not expect. The gray-haired man quickly ran towards Mr. Lin and asked him to stop. Then this old man made an incredibly high jump and jumped, clinging to the guy's clothes. The old man shouted that he had broken his back. How would he walk now? Shocked, Lin Shu and his bodyguard looked at this old man, and the guy shouted that the old man should not pull his clothes, otherwise he would tear his pants. He did not understand why there are so many strange people in this world. And immediately after this event, several men approached our hero and said that Mr. Fang Xiao was committing murder on the street. The bodyguard said that it was obvious that this old man himself attacked the young master. This old man was simply blackmailing people. The old man continued to play his role and said that it was like his back. Are they evil slaves still want to justify their master? One of those men who just came here told our hero to get out and stop all this disgrace. Lin Shu thought that something was wrong with these guards. Ming Ping rushed at him just a moment ago. Somehow it turned out that Guan Xianglo took action so quickly, the bodyguard was very angry and he already wanted to deal with the guards. Lin Shu kicked his bodyguard and said that it was time for him to return. If anyone was looking for him, they should say that he was just in the Song Ga tea house. Then he told the guards to escort him out. The bodyguard did not understand what the young master was doing. The guards looked at each other and looked into each other's eyes, thinking, did he really just agree? The bodyguard was thinking about why the young gentleman looked as if he was not being arrested but was being taken to a banquet. But after some time, Lin Shu found himself in a not the best place. The guards drove him into a cage and told him to stay here. Someone had piled a pile here. Lin Shu thought about the fact that he was in prison for the first time in 2 years in his life, and this was a really interesting experience. Immediately after this, she felt some steps approaching him. It was the same acquaintance of our hero, and she said that she didn't think that they would meet so quickly. The guy said that they had taken a man whom they themselves had blackmailed. Are they really expecting gratitude? The arrogant man said that Mr. Lin Shu must be joking after all. He broke the old man's leg. How could this be blackmail? Lin Shu said that this is a lawlessness of testing in general. The old man said that his back was broken. But the arrogant man hit the old man's leg very hard. And then he turned to our hero and said that isn't it Lin Shu's fault? And the old man meanwhile pointed his finger at Lin Shu and shouted that this fool broke his leg, and also behaved so arrogantly. The guy in the cage asked the old man if he even had a conscience and then asked his interlocutor what he really wanted. And so the man with the fan said that he wants a bucket of ice for 1 silver coin. If Lin Shu agrees, then he can get out of prison. Lin Shu froze for a minute. His face changed as if he noticed something. Where he turned to his interlocutor, he said that he suddenly realized one interesting thing and asked his interlocutor if he wanted to know what. Naturally, the man with the fan asked what we were talking about. And our hero said that he saw a black eye, and another one would appear soon, and he also called him a stupid donkey. Naturally, such words angered the arrogant man. He said that in this case, Lin Shu will remain in this prison until he dies of hunger, and he will do everything so that they will not remember him. Suddenly, a man with a black beard walked in, took off his shoe and immediately threw it right in the arrogant guy's face, shouting that he was a criminal. Another man sighed with relief and said that they had finally found Mr. Lin Shu. Everyone in the palace was very worried that he had disappeared. We need to open the door quickly. A man with a black beard said that this was a misunderstanding. The local officer conducted his investigation, and he confirmed that the young gentleman was not guilty of anything, so he could calmly go. Lin Shu smiled and looked at that same arrogant guy. He said that it turns out he was right. The arrogant guy turned to his father and said that they couldn't let him leave like that. And so a man with a black mustache, without thinking for a long time, ran up and kicked the same person in the face and threw his shoe, shouting for him to shut up. And then he turned to Mr. Lin and said that he asked for forgiveness from them. His son was overheated and was talking nonsense. He did not want to cause trouble for anyone. He told his son to shut up that idiot. Another man who came with him said that they should go quickly. The palace would obviously be unhappy if he was late. Lin Shu said that Master Li was right. It is easier to anger a nobleman. A man with a black beard said that there is no point in angering a nobleman, but he himself strangled his son so that he almost died. Then he continued to beat his son and said that you can't behave like that. Mr. Lin is a respected person in the palace. He is close to the emperor, and no one dares to arrest him. If he dares to convert him again, then the father will beat his son to death. The following events take place in the palace. There were several beauties who stood next to the lady. They waved their fans so that the lady would not be hot. But she told them not to wave because the air was already hot. Then she asked if the people who were supposed to come here had arrived. And so our hero and his companion came to her. The man immediately fell to his knees and told Her Highness that they had arrived. She asked why they arrived so late. Do they really want the whole palace to die from the heat? Lin Shu asked for forgiveness and said that he was detained in the city and that's why he was late. But she need not worry. He is ready to make every effort to help her. The beautiful and majestic lady looked at the guy with an attentive gaze, wondering what he came up with. Our hero took one idea from his past life. For this, he needed water and a watermelon. From these ingredients, he created the most authentic ice cream. Then he offered this sweet to Her Majesty and told her to eat it slowly. The lady looked carefully at this unknown dish and said that only because of his popsicle she would spare him this time. She also said that she wants to invite him to stay in Changchun Palace. Then the whole palace can eat ice cream all year round. Lin Shu became very tense when he heard this, and then said that he was afraid that it was impossible. He himself thought that a man who is allowed to remain in the harem in addition to the emperor and his subjects is a eunuch. But the empress said that he should not be afraid. They would only make a few cuts, so he should be patient. Lin Shu was very scared and immediately bowed to her, then said that he helped the eldest daughter of the Zhao family in person, so the only thing he can do is thank her for her kindness. The lady looked at him with some sadness and said that what a pity it was that he was engaged. After some time, Lin Shu and the chief overseer went further. Lin Shu told him that he had almost turned from Mr. Lin into Little Lin. A girl in pink clothes came to meet him and asked that it was their turn. The chief overseer said that this time she honored Rheingold's palace with her presence. The girl said that if they have the opportunity, they can come to them twice a week. The chief overseer said that he wanted to ask her to let Kai Ra show them the way. Lin Shu thought that Princess Mingge prefers hot rather than cold, which means this ice is intended for palace maids. And so again he came to that same arrogant lady who looked at him intently. Lin Shu this time closed his eyes and did not look at her. She annoyed him, and so he thought about how he would punish her. He himself said that he was very glad to see the princess, but in his thoughts he thought that when he sees her, the magic in his body awakens, so every second it becomes more and more difficult for him to restrain himself. She quickly approached our hero and asked what his name was. Lin Shu said what his name was. Then the princess looked at him carefully and said that Lin Shu is engaged to a woman. Lin Shu replied that everything was correct. Then the princess said that he knows a lot for a person, but he is too poor to be worthy of this woman. Lin Shu said in a calm voice that the princess is absolutely right. The first daughter in the Zhao family has incredible beauty and talent. In their kingdom there is only one woman who can compare with her. I pointed out that he has nothing more worthy of her and his face. Then the princess said that he was tongue-tied. Except for his appearance, he was nothing else. She thought that this fool could not stop praising himself and his woman. Lin Shu thanked the princess for complimenting his appearance. She got angry and asked who was complimenting him here anyway. With a menacing voice, she said that when he makes ice, he should get out of here immediately. And then some more time passed. Late evening came and our hero went to his home. He and his cultivation assistant were riding in a horse-drawn carriage. He turned to Lin Ying and asked who was better, she or the princess. His interlocutor replied that she had never thought about it, so she didn't know. She also said that her ability is online, she holds them back, and Lin Shu should stay away from her. Also, our hero told her not to worry, and he knows what is appropriate to discuss and what is not. Although he has never participated in such competitions, he thinks that Lin Yin is much stronger. His interlocutor asked him with interest, what is he talking about? Lin Shu said that although she is a princess different in appearance, her hair is darker and she is not tall, and they are both about the same age, but she looks younger. Lin Yin asked in a dissatisfied voice. So she looks older? Their conversation was interrupted by someone singing. Lin Shu began to look around to see who was singing there. Driving past a house, Lin Shu noticed someone's silhouette in the window. Taking a closer look, he noticed a cute green-eyed lady there, wearing green clothes and black hair. And even the next day, this beautiful melody still sounded in our hero's head. He wondered who sang that beautiful opera last night. He wanted to go to a place and watch some people perform. Looking at this, he thought that this is a very sad sound. It's a pity that even with such good vocals, this opera is missing something. He called an elderly lady who worked here and she immediately approached him. The woman asked what he wanted. The young guy said that he wanted to order one play from her. How could he pay for it? The elderly woman said that ordering each scene cost 20 coins, and then she asked what play he would like to choose. Lin Shu answered her that he himself does not know what song he needs yet. But how about he sing one tune to that girl who sings, and then she would just sing this melody to him? Then the woman with gray hair apologized to the young gentleman and said that they only sell songs that their ladies can sing. Lin Shu said that he could pay more, but the woman replied that it was not about the money. Lin Shu pointedly placed silver on the table and the woman immediately changed her mind. She turned to the dear girls who were nearby and told them to come to them. Lin Shu understood that all problems can be solved with money, and if not, then you don't have enough money. An elderly woman said, "Does anyone want to learn singing from the young master?" The girls looked at him with misunderstanding. They said that they are innocent girls and they do not communicate with men. Another asked, "What if his reputation is not clean?" Well, one of those girls agreed without further ado and said that she wanted to learn. It was a green-eyed lady who turned to the gentleman and told him to follow her upstairs. Lin Shu looked into her eyes and thought that her eyes seemed familiar to him. It seemed like she was looking at him yesterday. Lin Shu turned to this lady and told her to go ahead and lead him to his destination. And after some time they were sitting in the right place, our hero turned to the lady and said, "Isn't she scared of being alone with a strange man? What if he has bad intentions?" She turned to him and said that others could do this, but definitely not him. The young gentleman was then at the scene of a terrible incident. He is not afraid of the powerful and rich. The gentleman is not a bad person at all. Lin Shu said that in this case he would sing her an approximate tune. He said the words of the song that he wanted to hear. He immediately began to hum, and the sweet lady picked up the tune and began to continue the song. She sang that people passed by, they did not see the divine light. People stood on the stage and sang their farewell song. The word love cannot be written on paper. It flows in our blood. But the curtain falls and the play closes. "Who are you?" And she also danced. Lin Shu listened to this beautiful song. I thought that I had finally found this feeling and heard my favorite song in this new world. Lin Shu even cried and thanked Mrs. Kai Yi. She didn't understand why he was crying and said that she did everything she could. And she herself thought that the words and music are very strange, and it seems that this song is about singers, but why did the young master cry hearing this? Lin Shu told her that it was time for him to go. He would come another day to listen to her sing again. The sweet lady said goodbye to the gentleman and wished him a good trip. But suddenly something unusual happened. For some reason the girl fell to the ground. Lin Shu heard her fall to the ground and immediately noticed it. He became very tense at that moment. He ran up to her and noticed that she began to rise. He asked what was happening to her, and she replied that something was happening to her head. Lin Shu walked up to her and touched her bare shoulder. Do an analysis. He realized that it was some kind of magic that influenced her. Lin Shu told her that he would ask his friend from the local hospital to visit her while she rested. Then he went to do what he said and thought about whether a special technique related to singing had awakened in her. It's hard to admit, but he relaxed so much when he listened to her singing. After some time, he was approaching the mistress's palace and immediately heard some screams and arguments about what was the benefit of her being raised in the palace. If something happened to her daughter, she promised that they would all be buried with her. Hearing these threatening things, the guy thought that he seemed to have come at the wrong time and needed to run away from here. But they saw him and turned to him, saying that he had arrived just in time, and he should examine her daughter. Lin Shu thought that all this was not good, and there was no salvation for him. The guy immediately came to the imperial concubine and said that he was at her service. The beautiful lady said that she did not need any services or gifts. Let him better see what was wrong with her daughter. She hasn't eaten or drunk since yesterday. Her strength is leaving her. They have already examined her and found no defects, and everything seems fine inside. Lin Shu took this spiritual animal that the lady called her daughter and began to examine her. The cat said that she didn't want to be touched. She was annoyed, and she was bored to death to stay here. The cat constantly said that she was very bored and wanted someone to save her. Lin Shu told this majestic lady that he had found the cause of this cat's illness. The supreme concubine asked, what was wrong with her? Lin Shu answered her that her spiritual animal was always within the creator and did not leave him at all. As a result of imprisonment, she does not eat or drink, but in the future she may fall into apathy, which is a sign of depression. Dear lady didn't even know such words. In this world, they didn't yet know what depression was, and she asked what kind of illness did her Nan have. She asked if she should release her spirit animal outside the palace. Lin Shu replied that this would improve the condition of her spirit animal. Then the supreme concubine turned to Ling Long and said that she had been gone for almost half a day. She was a little tired, so she would return to the palace to rest and let her do whatever the young master told her, and that girl agreed. She looked again at the young master and thought that not only women were locked in this palace at night. Lin Shu smiled at his new assistant, and she also smiled sweetly at him. And so our hero immediately decided to do exactly what needed to be done, and they went outside the palace. The spirit animal of that lady who never left the palace was very happy. Lin Shu heard that the cat was happy and said that everything here was unusual. The princess had never seen such things before. The girl who was holding the cat in her hands noticed that she felt good, and another girl who was nearby said that the walk really did her good. Lin Shu turned to Madame Shuang and said that today he visited the imperial hospital, so he wanted to ask her for help in treating one patient. And his interlocutor said that there was no need to talk so much in front of her, just let him take her to the patient. Lin Shu went to his destination, and there was something unusual here. He noticed that there were too many people here, and he wondered what was going on. He heard angry people shouting at some man. The loudest scream was the same arrogant guy who put our hero behind bars, and they said that they didn't care that Sai Yi was sick. They came to listen to her singing. Some were even ready double the amount to listen to her sing. But the man at whom they were all shouting asked, "Dear gentlemen, to calm down, because money does not solve this issue, Cai Yi now cannot perform a single song. Lin Shu turned to Mr. Zhao and said that he was very angry today. Is he really here to arrest him again? And when our hero turned to him, that arrogant guy already called our hero Mr. Lin and asked, "Why is he here?" Lin Shu approached his interlocutor and said that all his beatings had already healed. Why don't he tell the emperor about his action so that he could teach him a good lesson? He kept saying this in a whisper. Zhao simply ran out of that establishment and began to run away, calling his father for help. Lin Shu thought that fortunately this idiot did not know about his relationship with the palace. Otherwise, he would not have been able to scare him. The people who saw what had just happened immediately pretended that they were busy with other things. One of them told his interlocutor that he suddenly remembered how his clothes were once taken away, and the other said that when his stomach hurts, he goes first to the toilet. Meanwhile, while our hero and those girls were walking the cat, the supreme scissors, he decided to come to his friend who was singing a song to him. He asked the girls for forgiveness and said that they needed to go to one place. Then they came to her, and one girl who was standing nearby said that the lady lying on the bed had just lost consciousness. Lin Shu came closer to her and touched her wrist. As soon as he did this, he noticed that the lady immediately woke up. She sat on the edge of the bed and didn't understand what happened. Lin Zhu told her that Cai Yi had just suddenly lost consciousness. He asked Lady Shuang from the Imperial Hospital to help her. But the green-eyed lady, having come to her senses, said that it was surprising, but she felt much better. Lin Shu said that these were all Madame Xuan's abilities, and she told him that he was flattering her. Since Lady Cai Yi is great, they will have to return to the palace to their duties. Cai Yi said that she was very grateful to the young master. The next time he wants to listen to a play, she will sing for him for free. Lin Shu told her that her singing is priceless. He is ready to pay any money to listen to his friend again. She became embarrassed when he called her his friend. Lin Shu told her that. However, Lady Cai Yi must understand why she fainted. Cai Yi said that didn't Dr. Xuan say that it was because of an illness. Lin Shu told her that it was so, but not really. The main reason was that she awakened special abilities. The girl asked in surprise that there was nothing special about her. Was there? Lin Shu turned to the sweet lady and called her a beautiful lady, then said that Cai Yi's voice is more beautiful than everyone else. But he didn't even think about the direction of the magic. Today, she tried a new method of singing and spent more energy than usual, so she suddenly lost consciousness. The girl asked in surprise. Does she really have magic? Lin Shu replied that of course there is. If she could master her power, she would definitely stage a better singer in Beijing. And let her imagine how many people would attend her concerts. How many would see her performance? A sweet green-eyed lady with a beautiful flower in her hair asked our hero how she could improve her voice. Lin Shu said that very soon he would go to the Academy of Magic to take several books on sound magic, and Cai Yi should study according to them. The girl with green clothes said with embarrassment that how could she excite the young master so much? Lin Shu told her that he admired Cai Yi's voice and would like to help her. Then the sweet lady said that she was very grateful to the master. From now on, she will always sing for him. Lin Shu, making sure that everything was in order, left that establishment to go on with his business. The old lady who worked here turned to the young lady and said that that young man is ordinary, but he is different from other rich guys. Perhaps this is Cai Yi's chance to fly into the skies and turn into a phoenix. But she, the young lady, said that she is not even close to Mr. Lin Shu. She thought that it was enough for her to just sing to him from time to time, and she was sad about it. Lin Shu returned to the chief manager. He talked to him. The chief manager said that the weather had finally become cooler, and now he could rest, by the way. If His Highness wants to reward Lin Shu, then let him not forget to tell about the chief manager. Lin Shu said that he was grateful to Mr. Li for the assignment. He himself thought that what a pity that he would soon lose the opportunity to eat in the imperial palace. And finally, our hero came to the emperor and greeted his majesty. Meanwhile, the emperor was talking with the concubine, and then he got carried away and asked if he was the son of Ping An's uncle. And he already knew what the young master had already done for his palace. The emperor in golden clothes said that if he needs a reward, then let him just say so. Lin Shu about the fact that how can he ask for something? If he asks for too much, then the emperor will not give him that much. If too little, then he will lose money. He thought that he would really like to have a big house next to the palace. But such housing is very expensive. The concubine who stood next to the emperor was able to read the thoughts of the young master and said that she thought that they should provide him with a house near the imperial city, and His Highness would not have to wait if he suddenly wanted to drink cold wine. The emperor said that this made sense, and the concubine is very smart. Then the emperor turned to Ju Jin. You told him to go and choose a house not far from the palace for the young master. Lin Shu thanked his highness for being so generous with a smile. He thought that concubine Shu saved him tens of thousands of silver with just one sentence. He adores this milkmaid. She read his thoughts again and grinned. The emperor asked the concubine what was wrong with her. It was her ability. She could read minds and answered the emperor that it was nothing. She just remembered something funny. Lin Shu was thinking that there were only 2 days left before the start of his studies at the Academy of Arts, so it was time to finalize his move. The house near the palace would save him a lot of money. And the following events take place at Ishu Academy. Different people showed their capabilities and strengths. Lin Shu looked around and was surprised at how many different abilities he had. He thought that it was here that he could gain completely new abilities. He looked around and thought that from now on everyone here belongs to him. Suddenly, he heard that people were talking about how Princess Ming. He seemed to have arrived, but he himself thought that these young people don't know how good Sister Yu is, so they perceived that girl as a treasure. A man in blue clothes approached our hero and asked, "Can he ask who is in front of him?" Lin Shu turned to the side and noticed something beautiful. Everyone who saw this beautiful lady thought that Ms. Qin Wang was the most charming woman in this academy. Lin Shu said his name to his interlocutor and then asked him, "What is his name?" The guy in blue clothes asked, "Is this the same Lin Shu, the son of Uncle Ping An, the groom of the brilliant Zhao family?" Lin Shu said that it was really him. Then his interlocutor replied that his name was Li Baizhang and said that the Zhao family rejected the marriage proposal of the crown prince. Probably brother Lin is so smart that the Zhao family chose him. And now when Li Bai again entered Ishu Academy, his future will not be bright. Lin Shu said that there is no need to overpraise him. Although he has awakened ice magic, his talent is mediocre, and he comes to the palace to have fun. Why is he like his interlocutor? He awakened the power of thunder, but he can only wander around the palace. Lin Shu immediately went up to him and hugged the guy a little in his clothes, and said that it seemed that he and brother Li were in the same boat. And could he count on brother Li's help if something happened? Li replied that he and brother Lin immediately found a common language. Lin Shu thought that he had found a treasure. Heaven-level thunder magic is stronger than ice magic, and he is about to acquire new power. A tense situation was happening next to them. The lady who possessed fire stood opposite the lady who possessed the power of ice. They looked at each other with dissatisfaction. Lin Yan looked at her and thought that, does she really look that old? The guys also paid attention to them, and the girls looked at them. The princess with fire looked at Lin Shu with a very menacing gaze. Lin Shu greeted her highness. He hoped that this girl was not going to fight him. Then the two girls fell in love with each other. There was clearly some kind of invisible enmity between them. Then they turned away from each other. Lin Shu thought that his fiancée's sister was very supportive of him. He then turned away and turned to brother Li to continue his conversation and asked what they were talking about. Li said that Madame Wan was the most beautiful in this place, but who is after her? Lin Shu asked if this was what they were discussing now. Liu replied that of course these are the names. Brother Lin, when you said that in addition to Lady Qin Wang, Xue Ning is also not without charm. He also said that he and brother Lin are of the same opinion. In addition to Lady Qin Wang, Xue Ning has quite an outstanding appearance, figure, and good character. The same girl who controls fire approached them and turned to the guys asking about, are men and women not interested in anything other than their appearance and figure? Is there something more? And the guys, looking at her, immediately unanimously said that, of course, the most important thing is the soul. Li drew attention to the girl standing behind him and turned to our hero, telling him that they would see each other later. Lin Shu told himself that one should not see lust in a person and forget about the most important thing. Lin Yan approached him and said that this woman was dangerous. The guy replied that there was no need to worry. He would be safe. By the way, this manhwa is called, I can copy the abilities of others. The following events are already developing in the courtyard, and again Lin Shu met brother Li and said, what a coincidence, Li asked. Has his interlocutor also signed up for martial arts classes? Can his body endure all these techniques? And then he said with a grin that it looks like brother Lin Shu just came to have a look. And our hero immediately understood what his interlocutor was talking about. Looking around, he noticed how beautiful girls were warming up before class. Naturally, every guy cannot resist such beauty and his brain turns off. Then, Professor Sun came and said that he would teach them martial arts. They could call him Sun Jiao Shi. Then the professor said that he will train them like real soldiers. If anyone is not ready, then they can get out of here now. All the guys who came here immediately said that they were not going to leave. Then the teacher said that this was wonderful. He hoped that in an hour they would not change their minds. He said that everyone should disperse and take off their outer clothing and stand in a horse stance. Everyone immediately began to do what this teacher told them. Lin Shu took off his clothes and showed his body, which we did not know even until this moment. Li asked Brother Lin how he got such a figure. Lin Shu told him that he lifts stone houses and throws various objects into the sky. But in fact, this is a side effect of the power of magic. But they told their interlocutor about this. Li said that he and Brother Lin are the same age, and he is motivated by the fact that his friend is a real man who understands that a man must have a strong body. Otherwise, how can he control his magic? Lin Shu thought that he was practicing martial arts to better hide his magical abilities. Professor Sun thought that he was a beginner, but in fact, he was a professional. Immediately after this thought, the professor came up to them and put his hands on their shoulders, then said to the guys, "Did the two of them have experience in martial arts before?" Lin Shu thought that there was no magic in his touch, so it seems that the instructor was exclusively a martial artist. Li said that he had little experience. Lin Shu thought that this man had never practiced magic. He was just an athlete. The instructor looked at the guys and said that next time he would fill them with chi energy and allow them to enjoy the light of goodness in their body. Then they started the next training and some time passed from then on, and finally the instructor said that they could rest. Exhausted guys fell to the ground from such a hard workout. The girls looked at our hero and thought that this young man was very handsome. He had an excellent figure. They were wondering if he was married. Each of them thought that it would be great if she could marry him. But that's all just dreams. This is after all the son of Uncle Ping-an, and he already has a bride. But one of them said that what about Zhao Lingjun? She's not in the capital now, so it's clear to me who has primacy. This girl's name was Ning Er. Others asked her if she was sure that his fiancé was Zhao Lin. And what should they do then? But Ning said that there was no such thing as the first to come and the first to take. She said that this guy's bride has strong magic, a wonderful family, and the favor of His Majesty. When she kidnaps her groom, he will become the main laughingstock in the capital. And if Brother Lin falls in love with her, she will definitely beat Zhao Linjun. Lin Shu, meanwhile, felt some kind of cold, but this cold was not from the wind. He had the feeling as if someone was watching him. When they finished training, everyone began to leave that training yard. Suddenly, Ning Er pretended that she tripped and began to fall right on our hero. Lin Shu managed to react and grabbed her and asked if she was okay. The girl behaved very defiantly, relying on her feminine beauty, and said that everything was fine. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this story, you would like to see a continuation, then write about it in the comments. If I see good activity in the form of comments and likes, then I will make the next part. Also subscribe to my channel and click on the bell so as not to skip new videos. See you later.